Are you serious? Are you serious? Folks, we have a prophecy alert here. If you go to Isaiah chapter 17, verse 1, because it talks about the burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. Well, we have news coming out of the Times of Israel that Turkey's president, and that is Erdogan, is saying to Russian President Vladimir Putin, it may be time to give up on Syrian's President Assad and the little Assad regime, because there's nothing left but Assad in a bunker and of his family and a few of his closest allies around him. The rest of the country is gone. And so really he's out of power. Out of Istanbul, Turkey, reports are that Russian President Vladimir Putin is having a change of heart on the Kremlin's wholehearted support for the Syrian leader Bashar Assad, and may give up on him. In the future, of course, Turkey's President Erdogan was quoted and telling people, he said, when asked if Putin could be persuaded not to support Assad, Erdogan said he saw his counterpart as more positive during a face-to-face meeting back in June. Putin's current attitude towards Syria is more encouraging than before, Erdogan told a group of journalists on his presidential jet as he returned from a trip to Asia. He is no longer of the opinion that Russia will support Assad to the end. I believe he can give up Assad. He was quoted as saying by the daily reports that he can give up Assad. Now, folks, if you remember, about 2 years ago, I told you that Vladimir Putin will have to surrender Assad. And the reason is he cannot go fight he can't fight Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, ISIS, the Free Syrian Army. And if Turkey decides that it's time for Assad to go, then Putin will have to make a decision. Which one is he going to lock arms with? Is it Assad of Syria or is it Iran? And I told you he would pick Iran because of all the oil that's in Iran. And he would let Assad go. And it's prophesied in the Bible, and we've been talking about this now since the Arab Spring, since the fall of 2011, that Damascus would no longer be a city, but would become a ruinous heap. Now that prophecy is in Isaiah 17, and it actually even gives you more in-depth look at it in the book of Jeremiah. And I believe it's in chapter 49. I'm just going to take a quick peek at that just to remind myself. Yes, it is. If you go to Jeremiah chapter 49, here's what, and this is what I kept telling folks. Syria's already fallen. It fell. Now, Assad is still sitting in this bunker. He's not running his country. His country is a free-for-all. Look what ISIS has done to it. And Hezbollah and Al-Qaeda control the Syria over at the Golan Heights area. And ISIS controls 50% of the land. And the Syrian Free Army, supported by the Obama administration, continues to shoot away at Assad. And then there's Al-Nusra over there near the Lebanon border. So basically, he has no control of his country, just his own little group huddled in Damascus. So Damascus will slowly fall, even though Syria has already fallen. Here's what it says in Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 23. Concerning Damascus, Hamath is founded, and Arpad are confounded. Hamath is confounded, and Arpad, for they have heard evil tidings. They are faint-hearted. There is sorrow on the sea. It cannot be quiet. There's no way to change it. Damascus is waxed feeble, and turneth herself to flee, and fear hath seized on her. Anguish and sorrows have taken her as a woman in travail. How is the city of praise not left, the city of my joy? Therefore her young men shall fall in her streets, and all the men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord of hosts. And I will kindle a fire in the wall of Damascus, and it shall consume the palaces of Benhadad. Now we know that Jeremiah prophesied it in his day, and now we're seeing the repeat of it in today's end times. And exactly what it says here, the people, Damascus fell apart. The people have fled the city. Over 1 million people have fled the city. If you take a look, and I've seen the pictures in Damascus, literally streets after street, block after block, nothing but crumbled rubble. And thousands of people were killed. Some were gassed to death by Assad, and some were killed in the conflict between the Syrian Free Army and Assad's regime. And I know of doctors who went there with Doctors Without Borders, and they have to go down into the subway and down into the tunnels and make makeshift hospitals trying to treat the wounded and the dying. And the young men were shot dead in the streets every day, and the grandmothers were executed, and all of these, and this is all before ISIS got there. And now ISIS is what they've done. They haven't taken Damascus yet. They've taken, though, 50% of the landmass outside of Damascus, and huge swaths of towns and cities and local regional areas. But what Turkey is saying is they are reporting that Russia's President Vladimir Putin has given up on Assad. And so you will see Assad completely lose probably his life. He might get to go into exile somewhere. Somebody might let him leave, but his regime is done. And so the word of the Lord continues. The prophecies in the Bible continue to come to pass right before your very eyes. Something biblical is going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. And now, this man you're looking at, Erdogan, he continues to be in the spotlight as a potential, well, they call him the son of deity over there in Turkey. He wants to revive the Ottoman Empire, and he will play a part in the last days with Russia and Iran. Now, if Turkey starts to team up like he's supposed to down the road here, which he will, then along will come Libya and Sudan or Ethiopia, and you will have your Fab Five for the great battle of Gog and Magog. Everything's coming into place. We're living in the last days. Give your life to Jesus Christ. Give your heart to Christ. Be born again. Call upon the name of Jesus, because biblical prophecy is being fulfilled, and we're running out of time.